Welcome to episode 2. Everyone else in these things drinks, so why should I be different? Tonight we're drinking Johnny Walker Black Label, 12 years. Anyways, tonight on Starships and Steel, we're going to take you through the process of building a cart for a caravan. This would be something you would find useful if your party was on a road traveling from point A to point B, and maybe they had got together to guard the caravan before it was attacked by bandits. So, without further ado, we will have some more of my lovely scotch and then take you through the process. Not too bad. Okay. First we're going to start with some bamboo skewers. Some popsicle sticks, some shears, these are straight cut shears, some knives, a glue gun, shocking I know, some glue sticks because otherwise it won't stick, and a carpet knife because I like them better. Cheap blades, replace them really easy, nice easy way to keep it sharp. Alright, so let's start with our popsicle sticks. I'm sure you've seen this technique before. Just take your knife and carve some cool grain effects in there and make sure you get them in nice and deep. I could have got mine a little bit deeper here, but it worked not bad in the end. The deeper it is, the better the dry brush will work. So for 4 of these, you only need them on the top because they'll make the bed of the wagon. And the other ones you need the marks on both sides because both will be on the top and both will be visible. Just let that go. I use this knife just because it can hold the blade easier and it's a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. I find that it works better than any of the other blades that I have. A little carving tool would probably work pretty well as well. Maybe a chisel. That's how I've seen it done on Wylock's videos, I believe. Alright, let's put these together. That's the base. Just line those up so they're all the same, so we can cut off the ends, make them flat. Alright, use this popsicle stick as a ruler, and then draw a line across there. Do the same thing for the back. Be careful, otherwise you might, send one of the sticks flying. We'll just snip these off with the shears. Again, these are straight cut shears. I assume right and left cut shears would work too, but I have never tried those. Alright, so I'm going to get some sandpaper and sand the ends down. That'll remove some of the tool marks and get yourself to the same line in case you were a little bit shy of the line when you cut it. There, not too bad. And just keep doing them until you got all those ones done. There. And this is going to be a cross brace on the bottom to hold everything together, so I just need 2 of them, one for the front, one for the back. Just measure against the width of the sticks and cut it all up. Alright. Line those up. Some glue on the first one. Don't forget your glue stick, otherwise it won't work. Stick that on there. It'll be a little bit tricky, so for the second one, glue stick in there. There we go. You could also just put glue on the actual base and then stick it to that. And make sure they're far enough forward and backward that you're not going to be in the way of your axle. So now we'll just mark out the sides of this. This is going to be a railing that runs the entire length of the wagon, so need 2 of them. Make them the same length and cut them off. If you want, you can sand these as well. I don't think that I did. However, I'll note that I have my little, it sticks out a little bit, my cross bracing, so I sand that down so that it'll fit nice and snug. Nice and flush. There we go. Much better. And that's like 80 grit sandpaper, so it's pretty aggressive. Some hot glue on there. And attach the railing. My railing is flush to the bottom of the bed, not to the cross braces. So it sticks up a little bit further. Perfect. Okay. So now I'll need get rid of all the excess glue on there. It's just a little right angle piece of popsicle stick. Put the back on, so just measure that the same way we measured the front. Or the side pieces rather. And just snip those off. There you go. Sure it fits. Looks pretty good. Again, you can sand that if you want. I did not. However, again, that's not very even, so we'll sand that down so that it sticks on better. The flatter surface to stick it to. Some hot glue on there. And finally attach the back. Perfect. Okay. Now it's almost starting to look like a cart. So we'll need a cart at the front, or a cross brace at the front as well. Sort of a place where the driver can sit between him and the cargo. Yeah, a little miniature so we can measure it properly. Fits in there nice, holds the rails open a little bit. I just draw a line on there so I know where to put the glue. Alright, that's good. We're sure it's from the right angles to the railings so it doesn't look funny. Alright. And we'll use some upright bamboo skewers here as well to make a little railing around it. I measured it to about half the height of a miniature. That's arbitrary. You can make it whatever size you want. You could make a lot of them, make it into a prison wagon, whatever you wanted. So I cut 4 of them out. There we go. And the last one. Great. Now I just glue these into the 4 corners. Be the uprights for the railings. One more to go. Perfect. There we go. Now we'll use bamboo skewers again to make the cross railings. Measure them right against the model and snip that off. Another one on the other side, measure it against the model again, just in case they're different sizes. There we go. And I was going to do the back first, but I decided to glue them on before I put the back on, so I could glue it across all the railings. Get a little bit more strength maybe. There's the first one. 2 more dabs of glue. And second one. Measure that so it crosses the cross railings as well as the uprights. And glue it, or cut it first. Not ready to glue yet. And then put some glue on there. You see me getting rid of all the little excess hot glue wisps that stick to everything. It's the downside to using hot glue. However, it's fast and flexible, so that's a good thing. There's the body of the cart. Looking pretty good. Alright, here's the axle. So now I just kind of arbitrarily stuck it out that much and then did the same thing on the other side. Measured the distance I stuck it out on one side and then transferred that to the other side so that I could center it. This was an arbitrary value. I just guessed. I wasn't sure what I was going to use for wheels. If you know what you're going to use for wheels, I would make them slightly longer than that. I got lucky and it was for me. A little glue on there to put the wheel on there. And I didn't put anything else on here, but if you wanted to put some card over top of those, it might make it a little bit stronger. Mine feels a little bit wobbly, but I mean, for what I'm going to use it for, it's probably okay. Okay, for wheels, I decided to use these wooden discs. Which will eventually show up on the screen, but I didn't edit this very well apparently. Everyone has to be patient. so these wooden discs, 2, 3, 4, are what I'm going to use. And some matchsticks for cross bracing. So the first thing I did was find a drill bit about the same size as the bamboo skewers, and then I drilled 4 holes in the middle of those things. The next thing I did, which I tried various ways to do, was to texture these. I wanted to make it look like planks, so the first thing I did was use a razor knife to make the plank lines. I hoped this would be enough, but I looked at it and decided I didn't really like it, but I still did all 4. I didn't really think it was going to work, but I had some other ideas that I thought I would try, and I filmed all of the things that didn't work for you guys so you could try. You could see my failure, so you could know what not to do. So this doesn't work. It kind of worked. There's definitely a line there, but I think for dry brushing it would not show up very well. So I decided maybe I'd try to use the knife and follow along that line like I did with wood grain, but it wouldn't follow the line I cut. It just kept sliding all over the place, so that wasn't really working very well. So I gave up on that pretty quickly. The next thing I tried was to cut another line next to the first line and then maybe cut a little V-groove out. That, again, was not very successful. It kind of worked, but sort of fiddly. So finally I got a file. This is a diamond file, or rather it's a square-shaped file, not a diamond file. Well, that's the same shape. Yeah. I just put it down on an angle and started to sand it, file it, whatever you want to call it. This worked the best. I would have preferred to find a pretty decent shaped V file, but I could only find a small one, which I eventually do go to use. It works better. I had problems getting the diamond file flat to the wheels and get an even cut across them. However, this was still the best way to go. We just go through all these. Pretty soon we'll have them textured all up. There, I got bored with that one and tried the diamond file. A little bit easier. You can get your finger on the flat part and get pressure across the whole thing and get it to cut nice and smooth. This was definitely the best way to go. All right, one more to go. No, maybe that's all of them. All right, so then I took the knife, and again, you can't see because it's a little bit off camera because I'm zoomed out, or zoomed in a little bit, rather, not out. This is just the same technique we use on the popsicle sticks. I'm just carving some wood grain into these, which the dry brushing will pick up later, add a little bit more detail to the piece. Keep going. I mean, this is just a pretty quick process. Just wherever you want. They don't have to be perfect. In fact, they shouldn't be perfect. Kind of random, long, winding, wooden looking. I got a little split in my wheel there too, but the cross braces for decoration I'm going to put on here are actually going to hold that together, so that's awesome. So just take the matchsticks and... So this is off camera, but I took all the matchsticks, cut one, lined all the other ones up against the popsicle stick as a straight edge, and then drew a line across them, and then cut them all. But because I'm zoomed in, I'm off camera. I apologize for that. It's the first time using this new overhead rig, just so I thought it would show things better. And for the most part it did, except for when I was dumb. Okay. These cut... These aren't all perfect sizes, so I had to trim them a little bit as I went. So it might be faster to just do it as you go. A little glue on there and stick it to the wheel. And do this 8 times. So you need 8 sticks. There we go. I realized I was off camera. Stick that on there. One wheel. I'll grab another one and repeat. Here we can see that they're pretty good. So again, I decided not to glue the matchsticks. I decided to put the glue on the wheel because that's way easier. And the other thing I will mention when you're doing the wooden planks on the wheels, as a concept, make sure your planks are lined up on both sides so they're not like so they're running parallel on both sides, not perpendicular, because that's not how wood works. Probably won't notice it, but may as well do it right. Another line on there, more glue, and the matchstick. And if they were too long, I just trimmed them with a knife, and then I started trimming them before I put them on if they were too long. There. One more wheel to go. There we go. Trim that one first. Yeah, off camera again. Yeah, I'm new. This is my second episode. Give me a break. Okay. There we go. 4 wheels. I do one more thing with the wheels. Once I get them done, I decide to carve the ends of those matchsticks down so they are sloped a little bit, so that it look a little bit cooler, a little bit more texture, a little bit more interesting look to them. Just carve those off, all 4. Then we'll stick them on the cart. Okay, as I thought, these holes are a little bit small to fit the bamboo skewers, so I kind of carved them down a little bit and then shoved them on there. Pretty tight fit, which is awesome. When you're doing this, when you put the wheels on, make sure you're not pressing on one of the railings, because if you are, you're probably going to pop it off. Trust me, I know from experience, because I did it doing this video. Just work at these until they fit. There we go. 2 on. There we go. Put the 3rd one on. Carve the bamboo skewer down again so that it fits. Some of those glue wisps on there, which are annoying. All right, one more wheel to go. We'll almost have a cart. And on it goes. Perfect. Yeah, that one's a little bit loose, so I'll put a little bit of glue in there. Glue that back up after I popped it off. I grab a skewer and just kind of stick it in there a little bit. Stick it on. Perfect. A little bit of hot glue on the wheels. Not that they're going to go anywhere, but now they're definitely not going to go anywhere. There, cart. However, as you notice, we're missing some way to pull the cart. What's that little hitch thing for the horses to attach to? Bamboo skewer. Yeah, horses. So these horses are maybe a little bit big than you'd normally see for 28mm horses, but I got like 10 of them or 12 of them for $4 at the dollar store, so they're close enough and not unbelievable. We just glue the hitch on there. I decided to glue a little popsicle stick in there just to give the hitch more glue to attach to. Just fit that in there, sand it down, snip it off until it fits. Again, I've zoomed in, so still a little bit off camera. That goes in there. Put one in the front. Stick this one out a little bit just so it has a little bit more interesting look to it. Make this into a little metal attachment point later. And finally, glue on the hitch. Sure, that's not the proper term for it, but that's what we're going to call it. There. And of course, you need a cross piece to attach the horses to. We're not going to attach the horses to it, but we'll put a popsicle stick that goes underneath them. So I actually chose to not use a popsicle stick and use a thin stick instead, and just cut it to the size of the horses so it's stuck underneath them and glued it on. So the first thing we're going to do for painting is apparently erased all of the part where I painted it black. I just quickly painted it black with a brush. You could spray bomb it if you wanted to, but I didn't. So then I just put a little bit of brown paint in there. This is a dark chestnut or something like that. And then I added a drop of black, which is a standard craft black paint. And mix those together to give it a nice dark black as a base first color. Then I added a little bit of water to that to water it down a little bit so it flowed better. There, nice black, brown, black, whatever you want to call it. Got our palette all mixed up there. Move that out of the way and get the cart back. You'll see there's a nice cool X on there so I know where I am when I want to zoom in. Then we'll quickly put this on fast forward and add a bunch of paint to this black cart. So just take your time and make sure you get everything covered. It's a fairly big piece, so it takes a little bit of time to get covered with the brush. Use a bigger brush, I guess. I didn't paint the bottom black brown because I didn't think it would be visible. So it's black like it's in shadow. The other side here, just keep painting those down. And again, this is not hugely watered down, but a little bit of water just to make it flow a little bit better. Paint up the front. I just paint everything brown. I'm going to make some of it silver for metal later, but to start with, I just go over everything in brown. This is a pretty simple piece, so it'll work okay. There we go, all black brown. Okay, so the next thing to do is to start dry brushing it, and I just used a lighter brown to start with. I didn't use the dark, I just started with the lighter brown. So this is cashmere tan or something like that. Stick a bunch on there, and you want to grab a brush with some nice short stiff bristles, which are awesome for dry brushing, and just go to town. And this will bring out those details you put in earlier, make it look like wood. Just careful you don't do it too much, you'll get like splotches on there. I got one in there, a couple more here and there, but as long as it's not everywhere, it looks okay. So this is not rocket science, this is just dry brushing. If you've never done it before, you just put some paint on your brush and then wipe most of it off, I guess. And I use a tissue paper there, and I just put it on there until it stops filling in the spaces between the pattern on the tissue paper, and then I start brushing nice and light on the model. There we go. Bringing that texture out, looking pretty good. Starting to look more interesting than just a black or straight brown piece. That's what this is all about, so it looks cool on the table. So your players get a awesome experience. That's what I'm going for. And a bit of a splotch over that one wheel there. A little bit too much paint on there when I went back to the wheel and started painting. But it's okay. It really doesn't ruin the piece. All the way over, paint that up. There's a lot of paint in here. Maybe I should trim these down next time. Make it a little bit shorter video. But I didn't this time, so we'll just have to go with it and learn as I go. I just did a quick dry brush on the bottom. Doesn't need it, but I had some extra paint, so why not? Okay. So once I got that done, I decided to lighten up the paint a tiny bit and do a second coat of a little bit lighter paint. So again, I just took the paint that I had on the palette left, and I used not a white, I used an oatmeal color. I put a couple drops in there, mixed it up, and then did the same thing again. So it's one drop, And I mix that in, decide it's not quite light enough yet. That's an example of this isn't an exact science, just kind of work it as best you can, get the color as best you can. No, I don't like it, not light enough. Another drop in there, and mix it all up again. And then I'm happy with this color. Get that mixed up. All right, ooh, speed it up there for you. Rid of that. Bring the card out again, grab the dry brush, and go to town. Hopefully I don't spend time off camera. I tend to try and hold it underneath my face while I do this, but it doesn't work for you guys very well. There we go. Not over the X, and then I remember I should be over the X so I can film this so people can get some, hopefully, ideas of ways to make their own stuff. That's what this is all about. Showing you guys what I do, showing you guys ways to do things. Most of it's probably not going to be brand new to anyone who's seen these videos before from other guys, but hopefully will inspire you to try your own stuff, get new ideas, and make your terrain and your role-playing experience that much better. All right, let's add some more brown on there, more highlighting kinda. Okay, not bad. Let's gonna add some more touch-ups on here, a little more lighter brown color. It's looking like a pretty cool little card right now. Pretty happy with it in the end. There's things you could do. You could add like metal banding around the wheels. I didn't do that, but you could. Most of them would probably actually have that in real life, but this isn't real life. Okay, let's add some metal detailing onto this just to make it a little bit cooler. It's just a standard kind of craft paint silver I got at the dollar store. These are all paints I bought at the dollar store, so they're like $1 Canadian or $2.50 Canadian or something like that, depending on the size. It's like 10 cents for Americans, I think. All right, find our brush, get that cleaned up. Out of the way, get the card in here, and then let's paint those bands first silver. So the first thing I do is just paint the tops, hoping that would be enough, because at the end of the day I'm kind of lazy, and if it looked decent I would just leave it like that and skip painting the sides. However, I decided it doesn't look that good. But we'll paint the middle parts on this first. And paint the sides of these because I decided it didn't look very good. Thought it looked better with the whole metal band painted metal. Looking pretty good now. More side to do. Some more silver on there. All right. Almost done the silver. Move on to the next stage. Yeah, it's looking not bad. So the next thing I want to do is just kind of put a black wash over the top of the silver, make it a little bit aged, maybe add some black shadow in there. So I just use a pretty basic wash concept, black paint, and I add a lot of water to it. And you can use like thinning agents if you really want to, which will make it probably work better, but for this model I thought that might be overkill. So mix that up, make it nice and runny, and I just tested it on the side against places where there was paint to see how it looked over top of that paint, make sure it wasn't going to darken it up too much. There, I think I'm happy with that. Let's take the same brush that we used to paint the silver with and add some wash over top of the silver, make it a little bit darker, a little bit more aged, a little bit more weathered. On the front there, pulled up a little bit, just get rid of that. And I had some extra, so I thought I would add some more shadow. So I just put some between the wheels and the body of the cart. And then in the end, I just painted the entire back of the wheel with it. Just added a little bit more darkness, a little bit more shade, and then some shade in the corners there with the uprights, just to get her looking pretty good. A little bit of final detail touching kind of stuff, you know, nothing huge. All right, that's our cart. So here we go. There's the cart with some building fronts. Give you an idea what it looks like, and some crates in the back there, and hopefully you found this entertaining. I want to thank you for sticking around and watching this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. And if you'd like, give me a subscribe, because I don't have many right now, and I'd like to, keep making these, because they're kind of fun. And I like to give back to the community like a lot of guys do. So thanks very much, and enjoy.